Good day. I am astrologer Lateesha Hinton with Soul Spread Wisdom, and today I will be discussing this upcoming conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn in the sign of Aquarius. It is the big topic. It has been for quite some time. So I am going to chime in on what I see. I'm going to talk about Saturn's energy, his rulership of Aquarius, as I am a traditional astrologer. I do use the outer planets in chart readings. But as far as rulership is concerned, I look to the traditional 7 planets for the rulership of the signs, and in that, Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius. And so I'm going to go through that, and then I will go through all 12 signs and discuss what this Saturn and Jupiter conjunction will bring for you, beginning December 21st of 2020 and moving through 2021. So, of course, this is just an overview. I have available personal readings on my site, soulspreadwisdom.com. You can go there and book a 90-minute reading, personal reading, where we can go through your chart and see how 2021 will play out for you. We will be looking at more than just Jupiter and Saturn. We will be looking at many of the major aspects and those that will stand out for you. Particularly, I will be using ancient astrological tools such as annual profections, zodiacal release. I will also use the secondary progressions to look at 2021 for you, things you need to be aware of, health issues that may arise, relationship promises or challenges, just depending on what may be seen. And so we can look at all of that. And I have that reading available for $120. And that is a reading that is an hour and a half. So if you are interested in that, then you can book that at my site, soulspreadwisdom.com. Okay, so as we look at Saturn and Jupiter have both been transiting the sign of Capricorn. Saturn takes about 2.5 years to 3 years to move through a sign, whereas Jupiter will transit a sign in 1 year. So they have, at the beginning of 2020, they came into a conjunction. About January 21st of 2020, they came into a conjunction in the sign of Capricorn. Now, Saturn rules Capricorn and Saturn rules Aquarius. So the sign of Capricorn is the sign of feminine cardinal earth. And so in that, it is a more dense energy than that of Aquarius, whereas Aquarius is masculine, fixed air. So Saturn in the sign of Capricorn is more quiet. It's feminine. It is more reserved. I also have an article that I wrote. It's on my site. So for those of you who like to read, so I have written an article on Jupiter and Saturn, expressing many of the same thoughts that I will be expressing here. And so in that, Saturn is this is associated with coldness and separation. Saturn is isolation. And so in this sign of Capricorn, we see the goat heading towards the top of the mountain to separate itself from the pack that is below, because the many are below. And then so the goat is climbing the mountain to get to the top, and he will be at the top in a managerial position above the rest, and takes very precise steps up the mountain and knows how to move up the mountain to be able to achieve success. And that is what we have with Saturn in the sign of Capricorn. Now, this year, Saturn, conjunct Pluto. This year, Pluto changed the game, because Pluto brings this from the deep dark and upheaval. Though all that is hidden, all that needs to be changed, all that is not truth needs to come to the light. That is Pluto. So with Saturn meeting up with Pluto, it changed what it normally looks like for Saturn to transit his own sign. When the planet is in his own home, Saturn's in his own home of Capricorn, it's peaceful. He's able to move through. He's strong. He's able to accomplish his task of moving forward and keeping order and structure, as Capricorn is a very traditional earthy sign. Let's keep things, the way that they have been. We're not trying to change things up. Well, as Saturn has transited through the sign of Capricorn, this time Pluto was there, and there was this conjunction between Pluto and Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter is the great benefic, bringing expansion, but Jupiter in the sign of Capricorn is in his fall, because Jupiter is exalted and does his very best in the sign of Cancer. So he has fallen from great heights, and now he is fallen down to the very bottom of that mountain in the sign of Capricorn, and he is not able to give his very best gifts as he normally would. So he is just trotting along through the sign of Capricorn with Saturn. Saturn is stronger because Saturn is at home, and Jupiter is the guest of Saturn in his home. And where Jupiter is about light and goodness, Saturn is the great malefic. So Saturn brings, again, he brings challenges, he brings blockages, he brings separation and coldness. And these are the words that the ancients associated with Saturn. So we look to Vetus Valens, and we look to Ptolemy, and understanding that these are the innate qualities of Saturn. And Saturn in the ancient times was also associated with death, because Capricorn is begins in winter after the winter solstice. So it is the coldest time of year, and Saturn rules that. And that is what Capricorn is. It's very cold. This is a time where things are not growing. They are not flourishing. They are not coming to life. There is a coldness here. So in the sign of Capricorn, things are slowed down, just like in the winter time. Things move more slowly. You're not going to plant fresh roses during the winter, because the ground is not sufficient. It doesn't have the nutrients. It doesn't have the warmth for things to come to life, because it is a time of recess where things are being drawn away. They are being constricted. They are not free flowing. And this energy of that is associated with Saturn. And so Saturn in this earth sign brings this level of order and structure and separateness. Again, separating itself by going to the top and leaving the others down below, as it moves to a place of management, moves to a place of control and power. And Capricorn is often associated with traditional government. And this year we have been able to see how all of that has been changed. The way that we have seen government before looks very different. You know, our outgoing president, we just had the elections last month, the presidential elections here in the United States. We had that last month. And we can see how Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter played a role for the things of the tradition of the presidential election, how it looked so very differently this year. The tradition of the president who would lose the race, how he would normally, leave the situation gracefully. We see how that did not happen. And all of that was heralded by Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter coming together this year. The pandemic that we've seen, the COVID-19 this year, all of that was heralded by that great conjunction with Pluto's involvement, because again, Pluto is digging deep for the truth, and Pluto is turning things over that have been hidden underground. He is taking, it is the shovel that is going deep. It is the drill that is digging deep into the ground to bring up and go down and find those things that have been hidden. It is associated with the hidden treasure being brought up from beneath the earth, from the deepest places of the earth that have been quiet and hidden away. So those things that were hidden were brought to the forefront, were brought to light for all to see through Pluto's activity in Capricorn this year, meeting up with Jupiter, who expanded it, and Saturn, his coldness and the starkness of Saturn, all of that brought to us what it is that we are looking at now. And so Jupiter on December 19th, 2020, he will leave the sign of Capricorn and ingress into the sign of Aquarius. And so many people have said, oh, happy day, because Jupiter will leave the sign where he is in fall, Saturn's home of Capricorn, and move into the sign of Aquarius. Well, he will still be in Saturn's home, but it will be better because he will not be in the sign of his fall, and he will be in an air sign. And so he will have an opportunity to move more freely, because Jupiter rules the sign of Sagittarius and he rules the sign of Pisces. And those are two signs of movement. Sagittarius is a fire sign and it is masculine, whereas Pisces is a water sign and it's feminine. But there is movement in the sign of Pisces. They are mutable, changeable. The ancients called those signs double-bodied signs. So there is a lot of movement. So as he is able to move into air, he has an opportunity to feel more comfortable, even though he is in Saturn's home. Saturn is the stronger of the two. So when Saturn arrives, Saturn is the boss because Saturn is at home in the sign of Aquarius. But Jupiter being there will be able to move more freely, and he will be able to bring expansion in a way he was not able to bring it in the sign of Capricorn. So with that, Saturn, as he comes in and meets up with Jupiter, this will be the first time that they will have been together in the sign of Aquarius in 615 years. They previously came together in 1405. That's the last time that they were conjunct in the sign of Aquarius. Now, they do make a conjunction every 20 years. And over the past 200 years, they have only met up in earth signs. So now for the next 200 years, they will continue to meet up every 20 years in an air sign. So with that, again, Jupiter will be able to move more freely than he is able to move in earth, and to bring greater expansion in that area. So when we look at the sign of Aquarius, if we go to Greek mythology, we go to the story of Ganymede. So we know that Aquarius is the water bearer. It's an air sign, but he is the water bearer. And so there is an association with Ganymede. So Ganymede, according to this mythology, he was captured by Zeus because he was handsome. He was a mortal on earth. He was human on earth. And Zeus looked and coveted and wanted his beauty, desired his beauty to be near him. So he separated him from the other humans and gave him the task of being his cupbearer. So it was his responsibility, Ganymede's responsibility, to take the drink to Zeus, to serve him wine and water. And so with that, we see the separation that Ganymede has from other humans. And in that, we can see that in the sign of Aquarius, because Saturn, as the ruler of Aquarius, brings a level of separation. And even though Aquarius is a sign that is a sign of service, the cupbearer, the water bearer, there is a separation that is associated with the Aquarian energy. It is a fixed energy. It is masculine fixed air. So there is an associated stubbornness to the sign of Aquarius. But the separation comes in with the Aquarius energy, with that of the mind. It is a mental sign. It is a sign, a human sign. So many of the other zodiacal signs have animals that are associated with it. But when we look to the air signs, it is associated with man, with the mind, with thinking. It's not associated with that of a beast or an animal. So when we look to Aquarius and understanding how Saturn operates within this sign, we see this separation in the mind. So just like in Capricorn, in the sign of Capricorn, Saturn separates itself by climbing to the top. The goat separates itself by climbing to the top of the mountain to leave the pack. But in the sign of Aquarius, there is an elevation of the mind, of the thinking. It is progressive. It is not thinking in a traditional way. It is thinking progressively, and in such, it is separating itself from the pack. It has thoughts and ideas that are on the fringe, that are not, that do not associate with the traditions of society. There is a stability that is associated with Aquarius because it is a fixed sign. Oftentimes in modern astrology, Aquarius is associated with this energy of Uranus that is really disruptive and unstable. But when you look at the Aquarian energy, there is a stability that is associated with Aquarius. There is a fixedness that is associated, and there is a polarization in the way that they see the world. Oftentimes there is an argumentativeness that comes out in Aquarians because of this desire to be different, to not fit in with the pack, to want to be unique, and to want to be on the fringe of ideas. If everyone else is saying, this is so simple and so basic. Yes, we all agree we want tacos for dinner. It'll be the Aquarian that will say, no, I don't want tacos, I want pizza. Just to be different, just to not go along with the pack. Of course, the Aquarian energy is associated with technological advances. So, in that, there is a separation from the pack. So there is this higher way of thinking about how the world can be different, tapping into how, robots and the internet and the web and computers can be used to elevate society. So in that, we see the separation we see Saturn's separation in this way in the sign of Aquarius. So as Saturn moves in, Saturn will move into the sign of Aquarius December 21st, whereas Jupiter will move in December 19th. So 2 days before Jupiter comes into the sign of Aquarius, 2 days later, Saturn arrives, and we have this great conjunction within air. So understanding Saturn's energy, Saturn will be at home again in this sign, and Jupiter will help us out. He will bring his graces, as he is the great benefic, and as Saturn is the great malefic, bringing again separation and coldness. Jupiter will add some of his warmth and generosity to Saturn during the 1 year that he transits the sign of Aquarius, bringing some relief to us from the coldness of Saturn. But we can expect during Saturn's 2.5 years that he moves through the sign of Aquarius, we can expect, greater separation because of technological advancements. So this, of course, is just the beginning of what we will see. Because again, Saturn will be moving through air for the next two, they will have the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in the air signs for the next 200 years. They will meet up. And so they are coming in to herald these great changes that we have begun experiencing on the earth and will experience in a greater way. So earlier this year in May, Saturn moved into the sign of Aquarius just for a couple of weeks. And when he did, we saw that they released some of the strictness that they had as far as the lockdowns in regards to the pandemic. And we can see that so many things moved to online, moved to Zoom and so forth because of the pandemic. And we saw that happening when Saturn moved into Aquarius. It was when Saturn was in Aquarius that we saw the death of George Floyd. So We saw these types of things happening, but Mars was with Saturn at that time. This time, Mars won't be with Saturn. Jupiter will be there. So there will be a greater calmness that is there. But again, as we can even see now, there are technological advancements that are happening with food in particular. And this is linked to this, what is happening with Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Now, when they move into Aquarius, that is Jupiter and Saturn, when they make this move, they will enter into a square with Uranus that is in the sign of Taurus. And the ancients tell us, ancient astrologers tell us that the square has the energy of Mars. So Uranus, which brings this lightning change and oftentimes brings a lot of disruption and chaos, is making a square to Jupiter and Saturn, and this will be happening all throughout 2021. So Jupiter is in this solid fixed earth sign of Taurus, making the square to the fixed air sign. So in this, we will see greater technological advancements that happen regarding food. And we've seen this burst of plant-based foods that have come to the market like never before. We see, vegan shrimp and vegan fried cauliflower. Everything is prepackaged and it is labeled plant-based, and Beyond Meat is booming, on the stock exchange. And so things are moving this way as technology is lending itself towards joining up with this Uranian energy of change as it relates to how we are eating and what is happening with the earth. There is a great outcry as it relates to the animals and how they have been treated. And this is Uranus in Taurus. And so there is a meeting, with the planets as they are communing together. They are speaking, and their conversation is heralding this great change that we are about to experience. And as we come through 2021, the way that we see food and the way that we are communicating with each other and sharing our time together will be very different. We, of course, have been experiencing the lockdowns and the separations as it relates to COVID and the pandemic and so forth. We will continue through this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction to experience more separation as technology, artificial intelligence will expand that much more. We will see more of the drones and more of the robots and less need for human manual labor because of the brilliance and the expansion of what the designers of technology will be able to do. So the robots will be able to do so much more than the human hands can do. But at the same time, there will be a desire to go back to earthly things. So there will be a juxtaposition of an outgrowth of both things simultaneously. where there will be more people returning to the earth to grow food, while there will be technological advancements that are happening that enable food to be produced and sold at the stores, that are manufactured, in laboratories. So this will be happening simultaneously because of this conjunction. It will begin the conjunction. It will start it. It will just bring the very beginnings of the seeds of the change that we will see over the next many years to come. So just with that, I'm going to go through the signs. And so for Aries, you will have this great conjunction in your 11th house. So that is the house of friendship and groups. And so for you, you will be experiencing, this great change and great growth as it relates to friendships. So with Jupiter being there over this next year, you will be able to experience new friends, help from the networks that you have, help from people who want to see you succeed, want to see you achieve your goals. And with Saturn being at home there will be more that you will be required to accomplish as it relates to groups. There will be more seriousness given to your thoughts as it relates to friendships, humanitarian efforts, how it is that you and your group that you are a part of can help others. There will be an expansion in this area for you. Okay, and then when we move to Taurus, you have Jupiter and Saturn in your 10th house. So this is the house of your career and your reputation in the world. And this is an angular house. This is a really, really important time for you. If you have a Taurus rising in particular, or Taurus sun, this is a really, really big time for you, because this is heralding a change for you in how you will appear to others in the world. It could be a time where you get married. It could be a time for you that if you are not getting married, you may find that you get divorced, but your reputation in the world changes. You could experience a promotion on your job. Jupiter's there. A promotion on your job, being seen and taken more seriously, and been elevated and promoted, and being seen as more responsible, as more mature, and receiving the blessings of Jupiter there at this time as well. And then we move over to Gemini. So Gemini, you will be having this great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn moving through your 9th house. So you may find that you are drawn to higher education at this time. You may want to go get the bachelor's or your master's degree or your doctoral degree at this time. You may experience travel to foreign places during this next year in particular. You may get more serious about higher studies. You may get more serious about legal, understanding legal issues. You may go for law. You may go to law school. If you have a legal issue that has come up, you may find that Jupiter being there this next year blesses you and things turn in your favor. You may find that you want to study more. You just want to read more books and understand foreign places and and the way that foreign people operate. And maybe you are interested in esoteric knowledge and rituals. So all of this is ninth house as it relates to the ancients and what they taught in ancient astrology. Then when we move over to Cancer, our Cancers, you're going to have this in your 8th house. So for you, Cancer rising, this will be a time where you will have an expansion of those deep and hidden things. It could be traumas that come up to the forefront that need to be dealt with. But Jupiter is there helping to minimize some of the damage. You may find a therapist at this time. You know, Jupiter also represents the great teacher. So you may find someone who you can speak with, who can teach you deep psychological things. You may experience a desire to understand more about death and more about life and the transition from this life into the next. You may find yourself wanting to study about reincarnation and the things that are hidden and taboo as associated with the 8th house. And then when we move over to Leos, Leo rising, you will have this in your 7th house. This is an angular house. This is the house of others and partners. And so for you, you may find that you may find a partner at this time. Your partner may come into your life. You may find that you get married. You may find that your partner experiences expansion. If you are in business for yourself, you may have more clients that come into your world at this time during this next year, because Jupiter is bringing the expansion. And then you are seen with Saturn there as more mature and able to work and have this ability to tap into a more progressive thinking with your clients and working well in that way. Okay, then we go over to Virgo. So Virgo, you will have this Jupiter and Saturn moving through your 6th house over the next year. And so for you, Jupiter being here is bringing expansion to areas that may be related to your health. Saturn is here, requiring you to get more serious about your daily activities, your routines that have to do with your health. The 6th house is also associated with people who work for you if you own a business. So you may find that you are more easily able to attract those people to work for you. And there may be people who are more serious and more dedicated as Saturn is there. And so also, you know, again, you may have to get a different routine as it relates to your health, how you are taking care of your diet and what it is that you need to be eating. You may have some trips to the doctor where you may have things that come up that need to be looked at, but Jupiter is there to help you out this year, to help you come to the other side more easily. Okay, then we go over to Libra, and for Libra rising, you will have Saturn and Jupiter and Aquarius in your 5th house. So this is the house of joy. It is the house of pleasure. It is the house of love, and the ancients associated the 5th house with sex. So the 5th house is all the things. It has to do with the theater and performance. So having Saturn and Jupiter here, it has to do with children as well. So you may find that you have a baby. You may find that you are able to join the theater if you want to perform. You may find that this is a time that you are able to do this. You have the great ideas that are able to come forth, and you are able to take to the stage and perform and create new things. Be highly creative at this time, and be able to bring that into fruition, because Saturn is there, Jupiter is there, blessing this area for you. You may also see, a greater uptick in your sex life, and the person that comes into your life, it may be long lasting. This may be a long lasting lover that you find yourself with. Okay. Then when we go over to Scorpio rising, you're going to have this in your 4th house. So the 4th house, of course, has to do with home. It has to do with your parents. The ancient astrologers taught that this had to do with the ancestral lineage of the father in particular. Has to do with another hidden place, like the 8th and the 12th house, but a very hidden place. Subterranean place is what it is called. So, changes in your home, but blessings at the same time. Changes that bring blessings to you as it relates to your home. Again, this could be you begin a family. You start a family. There's an expansion that Jupiter brings to this area, and seriousness comes. You could get married and again start a family. You could move to a place that you stay for a long time. Saturn and Jupiter together, and you are blessed, to have somewhere that is solid, stable. Saturn. And that is expands you, expands your family, expands the communication within your family. Aquarius. Okay, so this is something that you can look forward to. If it is not moving, there could be, just an expansion within the home that you are in. You could find that you want to stay where you are, but you buy new furniture. Or you expand the walls, you build a new room onto the house. Could show up in that way. Then we move over to Sagittarius rising. You will have Saturn and Jupiter moving through your 3rd house. This has to do with siblings. It has to do with short distance travel. It has to do with beliefs. So you may find that you and your siblings are able to communicate more. You are able to share different ideas. You are able to come to some kind of concrete agreement in ideas. And you may find that you are just traveling more locally, on a day-to-day basis. You are traveling more just around your neighborhood and so forth. Reading more books and enjoying in that way. And then when we move over to Capricorn rising, you will have this conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in your 2nd house. The 2nd house is a support to the 1st house. The 2nd house has to do with income that you earn. It has to do with the food that you eat. It has to do with how you support yourself. So with Jupiter and Saturn being here, this is a great opportunity for you to have more income coming into your home. And being able to use your ideas to bring in greater ways to support yourself. You may find that the food that you eat is expanded because Jupiter is there. And but the food that you eat, because of that Uranus square, there may be a change in how you are supporting your body with the food that you eat. And, but a very grounded way with Saturn being there, something that will be able to be stabilized for you, but very new and inventive and innovative. And then when we go to Aquarius Rising, this is going to impact your whole life. Saturn and Jupiter being in your first house. Your whole life will experience expansion and greater change in a more solid way. Your body, the first house has to do with the body. So this will be, you may gain weight. You may expand in that way. You may expand in how you see yourself. When Jupiter is in the first house, people are just nicer to you. They want to give to you. They want to help you. They want to do things for you. You seem to be just more likable. And Saturn being there just brings the things that you do during this year are really important, because it will bring longevity to it. Longevity, something that lasts. So the things that you decide to do with your body, you want to be strategic with those things. You want to make sure that you are being cautious in how you treat the body and what it is that you are eating, and what you are exposing your body to. And that means people that you may be around, because with this conjunction, we're talking about something that will last for a long time. Something that will last for a long time. Okay, so that is what I have for you. I thank you so much for listening. My name is Lateesha Hinton. You can find me at soulspreadwisdom.com, or you can email me at info@soulspreadwisdom.com. And I wish you a blessed 2021. And I say to you, Ase 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 O, Yod He Vav He.